It is now 6 o'clock on March 10th. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Sandwich Board of Appeals. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The Board of Appeals is comprised of 5 regular members and 1 alternate member. The Board of Appeals can have up to 4 alternate members. Any decision of this board requires a 2/3 vote. 2/3 of 5 is 4. If only 4 members vote, the vote would have to be unanimous. If 5 members vote, 1 member could dissent. This meeting is live and streamed on Sandwich Community Television's website and on local channel 9. The meeting is being recorded and will be available on the SCTV website at www.sandwichtv.org tomorrow. The board asks that if anyone is recording this meeting, please let me know. I see none. Okay. All right. Can I get an approval of the draft of the minutes for January 13th, 2026 as written?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. The first item on the agenda is old business, number 25-13 Country Club Road, appeal of decision of the building commissioner, Miller, and it's being continued to tonight. Mr. Crane, would you like to reiterate so I don't have to read this letter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Attorney Christopher Crane, representing the applicant. I am requesting a continuance to April 14th, provided that if I get the variance request in tomorrow or Thursday, that works for Maureen. That
14th isn't going to work because I'm not going to be
okay, then we're not going to do it on the 14th.
So it'll be the 24th.
That's fine. That works.
Okay.
The 20th. Then we'll ask for the continuance on the 24th.
24th. Oh no, you put it 28th. I'm sorry.
28th, that's fine. So I'll ask for a continuance to the 28th. I know one of the last things that was on the last meeting, getting the as-built to the building commissioner. Finally got that from my client, provided that to him and Leanne today. So I think that's what you were looking for, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay. I think it was what he said
today. So.
But either way, if it's not, you can let me know. But otherwise, looking for that continuance to the 28th.
All right, so do we have to vote to continue or just?
Okay, we'll continue. What's the hearing number?
Hearing number 25-13 Country Club Road.
Okay, we'll move to continue till April 28th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right. All right, next on the agenda is new business. And that is number 26-01, 132 Main Street, special permit, Wolstenholme, for the purpose of operating a hotel motel at that location.
All right.
Just hold on one second. I have to read some letters, no problem. The Sandwich.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. The Sandwich Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the application of Catherine Wolstenholme. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Applicant and Ashley Polika and Barbara Brosman, property owners, for a special permit under section 2200 of the Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw for property located at 132 Main Street, Sandwich, Mass. Assessor's map number 73, parcel number 196, for the purpose of operating a hotel/motel. Public hearing will be held on February 24th. It's been extended to tonight, March 10th, at the Sand Hill School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Mass. At 6 p.m. The public record information will be viewed at the Planning and Development Office.
You move to open that? You want to move to open that?
Sure.
Okay. So moved.
Do I need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I always forget that.
That's why we're
But
here.
that's why I have you here.
That's why we're here.
We have a letter from Sam Jensen, town engineer. The engineering department has reviewed the subject request and offers the following for the board's consideration. The application indicates that sufficient parking is available, but details were not provided. It is recommended that parking supply and anticipated demand be clarified. From the building commissioner, Ian Reed. An application for a special permit for a change of use from property located at 132 Main Street was filed on January 8th, 2026. The application is proposing a hotel/motel use on the site consisting of 4 bedrooms with bathroom facilities, kitchen, pantry, and common rooms. The proposed change of use may trigger applicable provisions of the Massachusetts State Building Code 780 CMR governing lodging or boarding house type of occupancies, including requirements for fire protection systems, egress, and accessibility upgrades. A detailed code analysis will be required at the time of the building permit review to confirm the extent of the required improvements. The use substantially conforms to the zoning bylaws. Excuse me. From Jenna Silva, Director, Department of Natural Resources. The Conservation Commission comments are 132 Main, number 26-01, 132 Main Street, Sandwich, Mass. It appears that this project is not within the jurisdiction of the Commission under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Sandwich Wetlands bylaws. Let me know if you have any further questions. Okay. And that'll do it, right? Okay. You're up.
All right, well, hello, good evening, everybody. My name's Catherine Wolstenholme, and I'm here regarding the 132 Main Street. As you may know, I own and manage the Dunbar Tea Room next door, and I have for the past 6 years. So the house on 132 Main Street is a piece of history that makes Sandwich a very special place. Rather than seeing a home like this altered or slowly deteriorate, my goal is to preserve it, care for it, and allow it to continue telling the story of this town for generations to come. The request before you is simply to allow the home to operate as a small 4-bedroom inn with 4 guest rooms and bathrooms. This is intentionally a very small scale use designed to maintain the character of the historic home rather than change it. My vision is to create a place where visitors can stay in a carefully restored historic home, explore Sandwich's museums, heritage gardens, walk through local shops and restaurants, and experience the charm of Cape Cod's oldest town. In doing so, the inn will help bring tourism into Sandwich, supporting local businesses while celebrating the town's history. Equally important, this project is about historic preservation, maintaining a nearly 300-year-old home, and it's a significant responsibility, and operating a small inn provides the financial stability needed to operate and care for the property. I'm committed to being a responsible, respectful neighbor, preserving the character of the property, and ensuring the use remains quiet, tasteful, and appropriate for the neighborhood. Ultimately, my goal is simple: to protect a piece of Sandwich history while giving visitors a chance to enjoy this beautiful home in our historic town.
Thank you. And did you have any comment?
No, I would say this is a very small scale hotel motel operation. That was most akin to what the proposed use was. The idea of a small inn with some function room space for visitors to enjoy, and then food service preparation done by Dunbar Tea Rooms and brought over, but more commercial kitchen within the existing facility. So I think it fits substantially to the zoning bylaws.
Okay. One of the letters mentioned the 5 parking spaces. Where are they? Directly in front of the house there?
Yep, they're directly in front of the house.
Is that your property or town property?
That is the house property.
Okay.
And then where there was a fence that used to be the storm that canceled this meeting, actually knocked the fence down, so we were proposing to put parking there. And when the fence came down, it actually is going to be really nice to have parking back there. So we're going to be ending up doing that probably sooner rather than later.
Okay. Any other questions from the board or comments?
I guess I only have one question.
Okay.
And as I looked at the definitions of hotel and motel, they seem to require each individual unit to have its own sanitary facilities or bathrooms. We don't have a definition in the bylaw for an inn, nor do we have one for a boarding house or something like that. So I guess the only question is anybody concerned that this is going to be a shared bathroom facility, not a bathroom facility for each individual unit?
Each bedroom will have an ensuite bathroom, its own
Right.
private
Bedroom will
ensuite.
have its own
Right.
bathroom.
And there will be another extra bathroom for the public only, like not with a bedroom attached.
Okay. Because when I looked at it, I thought that it had been represented that it was gonna be a shared bathroom or something.
Currently, there is a shared bathroom, but we have engineering and architecture done to split the bathroom. It's a very big bathroom, so they can easily split it into two.
That's all I have.
Okay, I'm good. Somebody want to make a motion?
I just had a question on the parking. So you said you're gonna park on the street, and so that street belongs to you, the street?
No, the parking is in front of the house, to the side of the house. So where on this description he has put the cars, that is the parking lot.
Okay.
And then there's a street runs here. So where the cars are, that's the public street.
So
Yeah.
this is the public street going through, but this is the property, and there's 5 spaces that'll be carved out on site. It won't be overflowed to the street.
Okay.
All right. Is that it, gang? All right, does someone want to make a motion to close?
Yeah, I'll motion to close public comment on 2601.
Wait, did you ask for public comment?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody from the public? Jeez, Jim, thank you.
It's my fault, sorry. I'm jumping the gun.
Anybody from the public like to speak to this permit? So none?
Motion to,
Those are taken under advisement?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, the next item on the agenda for this evening is number 26-02, 185 Service Road, special permit, Grace Church of Cape Cod. All right, bear with me while I read some comment letters. The Sandwich Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on the application of Grace Church of Cape Cod applicant and property owner for a special permit under section 3110 of the Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw for property located at 185 Service Road, East Sandwich, Mass. Assessors map number 34, parcel number 142, for the purpose of reducing on-site parking. The public hearing will be held on February 24th, which is now March 10th, at the Sand Hills School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Mass. Public record information is going to be viewed at the Planning and Development Office. All right.
Motion to open?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll get it down one of these days after 20 years. Oh, the first letter is from Sam Jensen, Town Engineer. The Engineering Department has reviewed the subject request and offers the following for the board's consideration. It is understood the application proposes a reduction in required parking. It is recommended that the applicant provide details of their proposed management plan to ensure that the access drives remain clear and parking will not occur along the service road. It is recommended that the parking management plan detail the specific off-site locations proposed, times of use, and parking capacity that will be reserved for use by the applicant. The site plans call for significant alteration to town property within the road layout of Service Road. This will require approval by the Department of Public Works under a road work permit. The site design includes a comprehensive stormwater management approach with thorough documentation. However, it appears the drainage calculations do not account for runoff from the service road and associated contributing areas. The site is located at a topographic low point which Service Road drains to. As proposed, a significant portion of the low area would be filled in, thereby reducing drainage capacity. The drainage report indicates that the low area would be reduced from 15,000 square feet in area to 4,600 square feet and 54,000 cubic feet of volume to 8,200 cubic feet. The calculations report compliant peak water elevations that do not overtop for each of the storm events, but do not include the volume of water contributed by Service Road. It is important that drainage in this area be properly addressed to prevent flooding of Service Road and adjacent property. It is recommended the drainage calculations and design be revised to address this. The plan proposes to eliminate one of two paved ways that direct runoff from Service Road to the adjacent low area. It is understood that the two waterways are necessary for capacity during high flow events, especially when leaves and storm debris are present. It is recommended that the applicant's engineer verify that the proposed configuration will be adequate to prevent flooding of the Service Road travel lane, and if not, adjust the design to address this. It is recommended that the inlet capacity calculations be provided for the proposed catch basins and emergency overflow structure. It is also recommended that curb inlets be provided for catch basins at low points to reduce risk of clogging from leaves and debris. Continued. It is recommended that a minimum of 10 feet of separation be maintained between drainage pipes and septic system components, including the soil absorption system. It is also recommended that the proposed utility pole be relocated further back from Service Road on the applicant's property. Any questions, let me know. Okay, next comment is from Ian Reed, Building Commission. An application for a special permit for 185 Service Road is filed on January 16, 2026. The applicant is seeking relief under Section 3100 parking requirements to reduce on-site parking associated with religious use. The applicant is requesting a reduction from a required 110 parking spots to 68 parking spots, citing the use of buses as a reason for the reduction. My review is limited to considerations of code compliance, site safety, accessibility, and anticipated operational impacts. Should the board consider approving the reduction, I recommend that conditions be applied to ensure that accessible parking spaces are provided in full compliance with 521 CMR, no parking encroaches on required fire lanes or egress pathways, a management plan is in place for peak attendance events to prevent unsafe on-street congestion or obstruction of emergency access. Okay, the next one is from the Health Department, Heather Gallant. The Health Department is in receipt of the request for a comment for a special permit for the above referenced address. For the Health Department, the applicant would need to, number one, apply for permits and install a properly sized, fully Title V compliant septic system for the entire site/facility. The septic system we need to include appropriately sized grease traps/interceptors for all kitchen flow per all applicable codes/regulations. It would need to submit a plan review packet and apply for a food service license for the kitchens. The kitchens must be appropriately designed per the food code. They must obtain the proper permitting for and install, operate, and maintain a drinking water well through the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. The drinking water well must be compliant with the Massachusetts DEP regulations and requirements of 310 CMR 22. This drinking well must also fully comply with all Title V requirements. The owner/operator is responsible for obtaining any other necessary permits/licenses that may be required for the facility and any other operations within. All right. From Jenna Silva, Department of Natural Resources. Conservation Commission comments. It appears that this project is not within the jurisdiction of the Commission under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Sandwich Wetlands bylaws. And that will do it. Okay. Leanne, any comments from yourself there?
No, I think the use itself is a Dover protected use for religious use, so that is allowed by right. We can look for bulk requirements, setbacks, lot coverage, noise, trash, and parking as requirements that we are able to regulate under a Dover protected use. So here tonight, they're here to reduce their parking. Not much information was provided just as to the parking management plan and also the busing schedule, anticipated service times, or anything to that nature. There was a couple concerns from the public as it related to noise. I expressed that noise bylaws are still in consideration for the amphitheater use and what that would look like. That would come up through the building permit process, but that would not be part of the board's purview tonight, as it's really limited to just the parking.
Okay. All right, let's see. Sir, you're up. Could you just state your name and?
Yeah, good evening. Peter Vanko, architect for the project. And so the building indeed is going to be a church. It seeks to be a multifunction facility that's going to operate primarily on Sundays. Will be utilized during the week, though it's hopeful that the building is more than just a building that's utilized during the weekend. It has a community function, and it's a little bit more than kind of the traditional church with just one big sanctuary. It has meeting spaces. This has a variety of different types of classrooms, things like that, that will be able to be used for meetings. And it's neat because it's a non-denominational affiliation. There is also a component here where there's a small residence that's being built off to the far right-hand side, and the particularly the outreach that utilizes that is it's a nonprofit that gives vacations to pastors nationwide. Pastoral burnout is a big problem in churches, and so actually this ministry reaches out. It's really a beautiful ministry. So it's not something that would be fully occupied, and that's meant to just be a little bit of a mix of occupancies here, but the primary occupancy is indeed a church. So we're around 11,800 square feet, and functionally, when you look at our plan, we have a lot of different entries, and that's purposeful because we have such a wide lot that we really want to be able to be entered from a variety of locations, so you don't have to walk all the way around to an entrance. There's a little bit more of there's a lot more perforation to this building than you would see on a traditional church. Functionally, calling these avenues or maybe spines through the church, they link up these different spaces that will be communal. And the sense is that there's going to be programmatically classrooms, there's going to be a primary sanctuary, there's going to be a secondary sanctuary, there's going to be a third smaller sanctuary. And a lot of these is like kids programs, things of that nature. There is a kitchen, as was noted by the health department. That kitchen is intended to be solely for use within the facility. It may just be a caterer's kitchen. It may not be a formal kitchen with fryers and things like that, to be determined. And on that note, hours and use and the folks who are ultimately going to be occupying this are still to be determined as well. We don't really know. If you build it, they will come, is our hope. And we honestly don't know fully what that looks like. From a site planning perspective, as we go outside, you're going to notice the big circle in the upper left. That's our well, and that's our well buffer. And I think if we were going to talk about hardship at all on this site, that's our hardship. And a big reason for our need for parking relief. If it was not for the well, we would be able to provide all the parking we needed. We purchased that land initially without knowing that we couldn't get water there. It's not that we can't get water. It's that we want to spend $1 million to get water. Mm-hmm. And so we've said, no, probably not. It doesn't make sense. And it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, effort. Having the well has its advantages, of course, but we lose a lot of usable land. We lose a lot of parking that we could have otherwise. So from that standpoint, we really do have a bit of a hardship here. Could see it as a benefit too. We get to have all of our own on-site water. There's some good things about that, but we do lose a lot of the site.
So you're saying though, with the 68, you're maximizing what you could possibly do for parking at that site.
Precisely.
Because of the well.
Precisely, and I think there is some mention in our narrative that we came in with saying that yes, we plan to do busing, we plan to do those types of things to supplement, because really it is our hope that we are actually bringing in with small vans, small buses, things like that, coming in from nursing homes, people who maybe they're not going to drive to the church. And so we've dedicated a lot of space to that rightmost side of our parking area where buses and small vans can come in, back into the space, unload, and then we also have a large loading zone. The majority of our handicap parking is right near the entrances to our buildings, easy to get to. There's a loading zone there. It's very friendly to buses, drop off. Our intention is that we only have 68 parking spaces. That what would come with that would be the realization that people need to carpool, they need to come in groups. I remember when I was a teenager and just driving, and I finally had this chance to go to drive myself to church, and my parents would say, no, you have to come with us. There's absolutely no parking there. And it was just true. We had an urban church, and there was no way I was going to find a parking space. So it actually encouraged this thing where it actually would go with my family. On the other end of the spectrum, like I mentioned, the buses and the mass transit. So I think we're going to offset some of our parking by encouraging that mode of travel and that mode of arrival. It is yet to be determined what that truly looks like. How much I can't project yet because I don't really know what it looks like. I do know that if we were getting into events where we say we had a line of cars going out to the service road, trying to get in, trying to get out, obviously we have an issue at that point. Obviously we've hit maximum capacity. You could say that could happen with a shopping center leading up to Christmas shopping or a mall. You know, it's hard to plan for that 0.1% of the time when the rest of the 99.9% of the time there's not a super high demand. But we doubt the level of demand that would have a row of cars. I don't know. It would be nice.
The engineer had mentioned, and I think your paper had mentioned that you were working with one of your neighbors, like maybe the golf course, which is next door, like if there was an overflow event and it was, at 6 o'clock at night, the golf's over. Have you been in discussions with them at all or along those lines, just so
Precisely.
we have something?
Yeah, precisely. Do you want to give an update? You have to step up and state your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening. Samuel Lewis. I serve as pastor of Grace Church of Cape Cod. Yes, it is very familiar for churches around the area to partner with communities, and then we share space and we share resources. So doing that is part of the plan that we have to not only be I live here down the street. So to be a good neighbor and continue to be a good neighbor, but to partner on how we can serve the community. We've been talking about ways for us to partner with the town itself and to find ways that as members, how we can work with partners. So yes, those conversations will happen and can happen the right time, the right moment, with the right people.
Golf course is a great target.
Golf course, yeah.
Well, it's right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Pastor Mike is his name. He used to rent there. He used to have space there and do many there when he first came. So they are they've worked with churches before. So
Okay. And I didn't mean to interrupt your presentation there earlier, but I just figured I'd get the ball going.
That was actually a good segue.
yeah, in regard to parking, usually the majority why we come as families. Nobody gets a car and come. It's always the 5, 4, whatever the number, 6, 7, and sometimes you pick up people. That's the tradition that seems like that's our tradition.
Yeah, that's our tradition, yeah.
Still, yeah.
Actually, maybe can you tell the board about your current facility, what that looks like, and how your families currently come?
We come as family. So you'll see grandparents come with the children will come with the grandkids. So wherever they travel, they would come together within the van and within that. There's nothing new or different. And where we are at the Canterbury Plaza. It's pretty empty because there are too many cars because we come together.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many, I mean, do you anticipate, just based on the 68 spaces, that lot's gonna be full?
Here's our goal. Here's our goal. The moment we get to fill the spaces, it's time to send a group to plant another church.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
So you don't
Multiplication.
anticipate filling that
The
parking lot
moment,
every
right.
Sunday?
So it's
That's
a
right.
revolving. So we want to send out the best of the best to go. The cream of the crop we train to go. So that's the culture that we establish. That's why we're here. And when that happens, we want to send the best to plant other churches and elevate.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We don't go alone. We go by group.
Okay.
And this is also a layered timing on a Sunday is critical as well, because there's a lot of modern day churches are functioning, they're doing multiple services and they're layering things. So you may have an 8, an 11, and even a 1 o'clock. Some could even go in the afternoon. So there's going to be a lot of cycling, and it's up to a pastor running one of these churches, a facility like this, to time out their services properly so that there's enough time to get in, get out for that basically that turnover. It's effectively a turnover exercise.
So so the Sunday, many churches move to Saturday. They have Saturday service as well in the evening, 5 and 6 o'clock services that they have in the evening. So it is not like it must happen Sunday morning at 11 a.m.
Right.
It's not an absolute rule.
And you don't expect to fill 300 seats for any one service at this point in the history of your church?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not today. And the moment we get into that, I can tell you the plan's already in motion to send out the best to do something else, because we're always looking at where is the next opportunity to share the love of Jesus with a community. So you just can't send them tomorrow. The work's happening as you move,
Right, I got you.
as you're growing.
Okay.
Maybe I could finish with addressing some of the stormwater management comments and some of the site
Wait,
matters.
please, because you're gonna have to provide a lot of information along those
Sure.
lines before you can go forward anyways.
Yeah, sure. We definitely have those addressed. So we are managing all of our stormwater from the building and from the parking lot. We're handling it on site with a stormwater management system. There are inlets for that. The intention is that it all gets managed and put through that system. So we're not, our net load and the net difference between the existing condition, which right now is 100% impervious, to the proposed condition is essentially a wash. So there should be no potential of any flooding of the service road. As well, there already is lowland that parallels the service road, that there's basically a drainage ditch, and that would be essentially continued. In this drawing, there is a depression. I can just point to this for the sake of clarity. But this whole zone is being driven down actually and depressed down lower than its current location for that sole purpose of managing any potential water coming off of the property. It's basically setting up a barrier between the new building and the service road.
Yeah, so just we're here to discuss the parking, but
Yeah.
for the purposes of the drainage, you're well aware of what you're gonna need to comply with, and you don't see any problems.
None whatsoever.
May I address an aspect of the parking, because the building commissioner mentioned kind of like make sure that we follow the law, make sure we have plan and all of that stuff. We're not about to reinvent the wheel. I grew up in churches, and those things have been established long ago in regard to plan management. How do you mitigate that? The type of staff. It's not a new invention. So these aspects of conversation we're gonna have and be able to set up and plan when we know what we're dealing with.
Right.
Exactly. The other aspect also is to the noise function. First time that I went and all of that stuff, I spoke. There was a gentleman, my neighbor next door, took that conversation straight back before we even sent a dime. He said, listen, we have neighbors. We're there to make friends, and we're there to be welcoming. We're not there to disturb their way of living. Even through the parking, even if we had 1 million parking spots, we're not there to disturb them. We're there to be their neighbor. So we, as a core leaders, core team, core members, we have held those conversations to make sure that that happens, because it's in the little details that the big picture becomes a lot clearer.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think that's it. Just in conclusion, our parking is this hybrid. We would love to do all 110 spaces if we could. If we could get water on site, we would. But
Let me ask you about the 100-foot
yeah,
buffer there. I mean, isn't that to a septic? 100 foot from the septic, isn't that the requirement? Or why did they say you had to have a whole undisturbed buffer? Who said that?
DEP had from the wellhead has to be 100-foot buffer.
Right, so you want like a zone 1, but.
Buffer to what? I've never heard.
I know, usually it's 100 feet to a septic system on a well, that's why.
I'm
So
not aware of any requirement.
it's a commercial well.
It could, yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
We got 400 foot buffers.
yeah.
Is that a? I've never heard. Is that a thing? I've really never heard of that. Parking is not allowed in the buffer. Is that
It's
what
not
you're
allowed in
saying?
the buffer. Nothing is allowed in the buffer. Absolutely nothing.
Do you have that documentation to share with us?
No, I don't. Going off of the civil engineer who filed and will file with DEP, they prepared it.
My recollection is that when you have a community water supply, which this would be considered, that you have to have a buffer or undisturbed area around the well. I mean, I don't know whether it's, whether the same is consistent for like a town water supply or municipal water supply, but I do know that for community water, and like, if you had a condominium project, for example, that required, a water supply and they didn't have public water, there would have to be a buffer around that well site because it's not an individual well, it's a community well, is what they consider.
Even if no one's living in this building, though.
It serves more than 20 people or whatever.
I don't know whether I'm not
There is
sure
a
whether
residence.
they put anything in it or not, but I'm pretty sure, Eric, that that's the case.
I mean, it isn't public water supply, it'd be 400 feet.
Right, so.
But I mean, downtown, the water down there is considered a public water supply too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's been there for
Forever. Before these regulations came into play. I know you can't build in it. I don't know whether you could put.
Well, parking is, I was just surprised with the parking aspect. I'm like, I know you can't.
Yeah, we were told no parking. Yeah,
That's what they said, that's what they say. They
yeah.
change their,
Just
every weekend.
the only couple things that jumped out, I appreciate your spirit of cooperation and neighborly hybrid hope, but you're also pointing to busing, and I don't see any parking for buses on this plan, so you're, by default, they have to go somewhere. And I'm a bit reluctant to approve a plan on hope. I think there's probably some due diligence needed with the town, which is certainly a viable option, but personally, I would like to see some form of agreement that yes, this is a plan, because you're forcing yourself into a scenario where you will have to park elsewhere, and you don't have any agreements that I'm aware of to do so, and it's concerning, personally, especially where
We've had
you're deliberately building a facility that, although you don't expect initially, sure, you have capacity for and need to be able to accommodate. If that's what you're proposing, you have to have a plan to do so.
Well, I think that's precisely why we're here, is because we don't have the ability to do those 110 spaces, and clearly the hybrid. I'll show you real quickly. It has been studied that there is turnaround in 90-degree capacity to to get into that space. The whole idea is that the larger vehicles cycle through there, and if they do, they back in. We're thinking more, this is vans, this is Sprinter vans. It probably is not so much buses, and that may be a terminology issue on my side. Yeah, it's probably small church vans coming from senior centers, things like that. It's not huge buses.
Yeah, I don't know, I would, for a building, that's a lot of people in a pretty good sized building. It just feels like you're just begging for a problem, you
When I
know?
was on the board the first time, I happened to sit on the Corpus Christi Church, and they came in looking for reduced parking. We denied it. And you can see that even with all the parking that they had to build, they, you know, and granted, it only happens Christmas, Easter, maybe one other time. There are people that do park out on the service road, you know, and Quaker Meeting House Road. So I agree that there should be some plan, because if you don't have the ability to create more parking on site, you are going to end up with parking out on the service road if you have an activity or whatever that goes the whole.
It's a good point.
Fills the church.
There does happen to be a guardrail that is going to prohibit that parking. We, on the whole service road, the whole length of the service road, outbound of our in and out, it's blockaded. You can't park along the side of the road even if you'd like to. So that is here. So this is a guardrail along Service Road that exists for that section. We're proposing actually the extension of that guardrail for the remainder of the lot for that exact reason, to prohibit any street parking.
So what do you do
Gotta
if you
go somewhere.
If you have 85 cars or 90 cars that show up for a service and you only have 68 spaces, where are you going to put them?
That's a good question.
Well, like I said, these are not new things that churches have not been able to deal with once we know what we're dealing with, once we have plan. I mean, I went to a church in Arlington, Massachusetts, and the way that the issues have been addressed is that the staff people park and then they come and they travel back and forth, and you bring people. So there's that the possibility of renting space in nearby just for parking spots in nearby very close by businesses and areas. That's nothing new. Most of them are not working on Sundays, and most of them are open to getting a little extra dollars in their pocket.
And you make that deal as you go.
As you go. As the need arises, you make the deal before, again, it is before the situation comes, you make that deal.
Right, well, I think that's what the board's concerned about.
Is there a way to at least establish an agreement
The
that,
deal now.
yeah, if permitted and built upon,
Oh, yeah, if
There's gotta
that's
be-
a condition you would like, are you saying you want
No.
that to be as a condition?
No, I'm
for
saying
approval?
I would encourage you to explore those opportunities. You're counting on those to exist, and we don't know that they do. And then you're asking us to approve it with the hope that it will become a reality, and we're not really
So
sure.
what would you be looking for?
I
Exactly.
think typically there would be some type of written agreement that, whether it be with the town at the golf course or a neighbor, that, yeah, we're willing to accommodate X number of vehicles if required. Some form of understanding that demonstrates a written plan
Okay.
that we can attach to a file and say,
Sounds
we
good.
approved it because there was a plan,
Now, theoretically, so if someone does this, could we make a 500-seat facility?
If-
Does it go the other
Well,
way?
you're gonna run into other lot restrictions.
Yeah.
Now you have even less parking
We'll start
on site,
stacking
correct?
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're trading one problem for
Yeah,
others.
but my point is that if we're going to cut, it needs to cut, but it could cut both ways then, right? We're talking about our lot and what we can do on our lot.
Yeah, but it's also
Yeah,
We're trying to meet a standard that's there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Public safety,
Yeah.
public access. I mean,
totally.
And you don't want people parking on the service roads. People
No.
travel pretty quickly
Yeah.
along the
Oh.
service
People get killed. It's
Yeah,
I'm serious. It's
really?
very dangerous.
Copy that.
Also, I don't know if
The bike path has that parking lot at the golf course.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That bike path has a parking lot that they built at the golf course. So I mean, I don't think Chase is suggesting anything that's out of line. I mean, and I do think it could be included as a condition, which would have to be satisfied before any building permit are issued for the project. But as I say, I mean, we thought we had it covered, but, and I'm not equating this facility with Corpus Christi because that's a huge, huge church, but still, I think the board at that time had enough foresight to suggest that eliminating parking did make a lot of sense, quite honestly, but, so.
Yeah.
But I think, it could be a condition before getting a permit that you have made some arrangement for
Okay.
off-site parking.
That's very reasonable and acceptable because it will serve the purpose of meeting your concern and making sure that there's safety
Yeah,
as we operate.
indeed.
it would also make your life a lot.
And that is what we want, everybody's life to be
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Speaking,
Piece, not to throw a spanner in the works, but just for any off-street parking to serve as a use, it does need to be within 300 feet of the existing use. That is part of the bylaws.
We won't be able to hit that. We won't be able to
I
hit
think,
that.
I think the golf course is further than 300 feet.
Yeah, it's much further. You're right. So I think that
I mean, you could apply for variance at that juncture, I suppose.
yeah, right.
If that were a viable alternative, that
Right.
you could get parking at the golf course,
Yeah,
then you could apply for a variance from that 300-foot
Yeah.
limitation,
yep.
but.
Yep.
yeah, certainly.
I mean, I think we're willing as a team, if there was a condition that didn't necessarily have to make any reliance upon an off-site parking deal, we'd love to move forward with that. But and to your point, Chase, is that it's going to make it so much easier on us if we actually have that overflow needed, that we as a team will make that off-site parking deal just for our own sake, and for ultimately, obviously we can't comply with the 300 feet, but to avoid the variance necessity.
Well, you'd have to need a variance. If you were beyond the 300 feet, you'd need a variance. There'd be no way around it.
Even if we get approved for the 68 tonight and that's it,
But it would be conditioned on
It would be
having
conditioned.
access to others' parking.
is there a way to get around that condition is what I guess I'm asking for.
I want to reduce the number of seats.
Well, no, I'm asking for the 68 to be sufficient for 330.
I think we all in agreement that that's not sufficient.
Not
And we're looking
sufficient.
to mitigate that. And so the only
Okay.
logical way to mitigate it is off-street or off-site parking
Yeah.
somewhere.
Even though we are supplemented, a lot of those seats are going to be filled by people who are coming in groups.
We just don't know that. You're making that assumption. And we're, obviously, as Kevin has indicated, he's been down this road before, but under similar circumstances. And
Okay.
unfortunately, we've had similar instances arise recently with parking has become an issue. So we want to make sure that we manage it now and not have to deal with it later.
So we are now looking at a variance situation
For the off-site parking.
for the off-site parking.
I think we're looking for something in writing that, with the golf course, for instance, that this is your plan. When that parking lot gets full, this is how you are going
Yeah.
to proceed for that event.
Yeah,
And something that says, okay with
yeah,
the town, okay with, just so that we've got something in our hands that says, okay,
Yeah.
they've got a plan. That
Yeah.
lot fills up. They're not going to be parking along the side of the road. They're not going to be on the service
Absolutely.
road. Your staff is going to be able to
Absolutely.
get people down the road.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I would like to see, to Chase's point, something like that
Yeah.
in writing, approved by whoever in this town approves it.
Yeah,
And the logical place would be the golf course.
yeah, agreed. Is that something you'd be comfortable with allowing inspectional services to verify and vet the I guess, suitability of that agreement that we are making prior to building permit.
It would be up to the building commissioner to make that determination.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The seating that you're talking about, 310 or whatever it is, does that include seating in the classrooms?
It does.
When you calculated the 68 parking spaces, did you assume that you were compliant with accessible parking?
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are parallel parking spaces, right?
Parallel, no. They're generally head in, and there are some angled. It's a mix of angle. The handicap parking spaces are parallel parking.
That's what I'm talking about, the accessible
The
spaces.
accessible spaces, yes, they are indeed.
So is that compliant with 521? I mean, which one is it? Which one?
521 CMR, oh yeah, it's compliant.
Which one is the van accessible spot?
I believe the one at the furthest to the right.
Okay.
is
And
the
if,
van
if that's a
access.
rear entry van and the guy behind him pulls in, how does he get out of it?
It's the length of that parking space. I can't see the dimension on it, but it has been elongated for that reason.
Yeah, you might want to take a second look at that. I think you have to have
Okay.
at least a certain number of driving spaces for parking calculations.
Okay, okay, we'll definitely take a look.
So as far as you don't have town water there, is water being stored on site?
No water is being stored on site.
How would the sprinkler system be fed?
That's a good question. Actually, for that element alone, we probably are tanked.
Tanked.
We probably will be tanking some of our water. We obviously, NFPA.
Your plan shows a fire protection system.
Oh, it has one in there? Okay, good. Our civil was
They
thinking
don't have any
about
water
it.
though.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. And you said the depression out front, there'd be some soil removed from there. Do you know how much approximately?
I don't know the cubic yardage or square footage. It's not a tremendous amount of change along the service road. Really, our intention is to keep the relationship, and really grading on this site is relatively minimal. It's in the memo, it said that we were low. It's actually quite high comparatively. It's about 10 feet of change from this back corner down to this lower front corner. Everything slopes that direction. The service road is going downhill from this high point. Maybe there's about 6 to 8 feet of change from, this is the high point, down to the low point. That low point that has happened, we do have infill in here where we are taking fill and we are bringing that up. It's managed in our stormwater plan. Directly parallel to service road, I don't know the volumetrics on what that change is.
It's the Ridge District, right?
Is that Ridge District?
Yeah.
Can I ask a couple other, and being that the neighbor is a residence, you guys, it appears you're lifting that up with that retaining wall essentially on the property line, more or less. I didn't see, unless I missed it, any type of like site lighting plan or layout or any type of lot lighting proposed. Is this gonna be a dark lot?
There should be parking lot lighting in one of the subsequent sheets, but no, definitely not a dark lot.
So I guess where I'm going is like, it kind of goes back to like hours of operations. I mean, I know,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would want a commercial parking lot right next to their private residence.
No.
What is that plan? Do we have any plan for screening of, that lighting? And with this being one way, every single vehicle is gonna flash that house.
That's their driveway, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess what I'm asking is I am concerned about that, the buffer to the residents, just more as like being a good neighbor and all of the vehicle flash particularly.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'm still scarred from our blizzard, but where's the snow going? Are you pushing it onto his lot? Like I'm concerned.
Yeah. There are snow, actually in the plan subsequent to this, I believe the site layout plan has snow accumulation areas. That was thought through.
Okay.
As well, there is a landscaping plan. I'm
I
not
saw
sure if
it.
you caught it.
Yeah, I didn't see, there's just not a lot there, and that's your high traffic corner, and it feels like the weakest point.
Isn't there screening involved with parking too?
That's kind of where I'm going, is I think you may need to revisit some of that layout.
If there was, so if we could go to landscaping plan, it exists. Yeah. One more plan.
Yeah, it's in it, no, you have one, I just,
Yeah. Right there. So definitely are planting that edge with trees and shrubs, trying to screen that parking in a nice neighborly way for sure.
What about dumpsters?
Yeah, dumpsters would be to the far right in the top of the plan, top of the parking area.
Do you show that on a plan anyway?
They are not shown on this plan.
And how do they get access to it?
So this is a turnaround. This is basically no parking zone. So dumpsters would probably come on, say, a Monday morning, something like that. So they would be picked up right there.
Can you show me where on these plans it shows that snow area?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is landscaping plan. If we go up one, we might have to cycle through these, sorry. This is stormwater. Okay, where was the snow? My apologies, one more up from this. That they have a snow accumulation area in here. I look at so many of these, and I think I'm probably getting mixed up. Maybe it's not here.
Because I think whoever raised that, that's an important issue because
Yeah.
I happened to be at church last Saturday, and I would bet they were at least, based upon the way the parking lot was plowed, I bet they lost 75 to 80 spaces because of the amount of snow that they had nowhere to put it.
Oh, yeah.
So that, looking at that parking area, you'd have to essentially eliminate all the snow from that parking area. Otherwise, you're going to lose even more space.
Yeah. It's my presumption that we would probably plow down and accumulate here and probably also put it into our well buffer zone since it is snow.
And you better check that out too, because if it's runoff or anything else from a parking area, you might have a problem with the
Salt and things in it. Yeah. I think maybe this LA area's landscape area, they might have a note that says it doubles as a snow accumulation zone. Certainly in there. Obviously, we have plantings here that we don't want to damage, right? So, but I think our thinking was that we would plow the lot southward here, and I thought that we had a lot of good space. I mean, that's obviously the place we want to push all of our snow to if we can.
I know you have some, you consider a recommendation to change that to a solid fence, so you're not flashing lights through.
Okay.
If that's something.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, snow. Same thing, it's
Oh, yeah.
been a nightmare.
Yeah, we all are a little bit of PTSD from the past few weeks, right? Yeah.
Any other comments from the board? Anybody from the public like to speak to this permit? No, I see none. In order to move forward, we want something revised that shows something a little bit more significant for the snow, for the fencing, the screening, and a valid parking plan with somebody,
Offsite.
off-site plan.
So how do we do this? Could you help me understand the process? Since there's no way we can do the 300 feet, we're gonna be in to variance land.
Yes, to comply with the bylaw.
So do we need to refile a set of plans with you to then get a rejection and then formally appeal that? How does that work?
No, you don't need to go through that process. If the board would like, they could continue the special permit to a next available meeting to ask for the revised plans just showing the snow, the screening, and the fencing, and also a type of off-site and lighting, and an off-site agreement with, say it's the town, for any overflow parking, and then simultaneously you could file the variance. Yeah.
So we have to file the variance separately, and will that be managed? Where and how is that managed?
Right here.
Managed through this office.
Same meeting, the same next meeting? It just
same
gets
meeting.
advertised?
It wouldn't meet the deadlines for the next meeting, just because we have that 3-week advertising period. And first you would really, I think, first you would want to see the parking agreement that you have the overflow parking outside of 300 feet.
Okay.
Or if not, a more comprehensive bus management plan or parking management plan to offset some of that anticipated demand.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's clear. As long as it's done within this body, within this board, no problem. So, okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Ian, please.
Just as to the chair, a bit of you may want to review the 521 Seymour parking. Because
Yeah.
change it.
Okay, great point. Yeah, thank you so much. To Brendan.
Chapter
Brendan, thank you. Chapter 23, got it. Appreciate it.
Eric, is it really $1 million to bring water to this site?
I mean, it's a pretty long haul. You'd have to put a 12-inch water main in. Probably
Doesn't water runs all along the service?
stops at the golf course.
Yeah,
Is it beyond the golf course towards exit 4?
Yeah,
when I spoke with DPW, who took care of that, they said that it will be a very, very long process in and of itself to even make it. We're a half mile from where it stops. Yeah. And they'll have to go through an entire process that will take years. That can take years.
Working with neighbors and.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't, but
Oh,
I mean, it would. Within the water district, right? The water district stops at Mill Road, so that process is already done. If you paid for it, it wouldn't really matter.
Tell your boss telling you they can do it.
But I mean, would it be cheap? No. How many feet do you think it is from the golf course? It's like 1,000 feet, isn't it?
at least 1,000 feet and
And it wouldn't be inexpensive, especially nowadays. I mean, if you did this pre-2020.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I believe it's 2,500 feet or so. That's a lot. It's not just even 1,000.
Yeah. No, it's not cheap. Would it be $1 million? I don't know if it'd be quite that.
All right, gang, so what do we want to do? Continue this
For the 28th,
to,
Yeah, could we go 2 meetings out?
14th?
No, you need at least 3 weeks, right, for a notice?
For this meeting, okay. I mean, yeah, you could do the 14th.
14th, and you're not going to be here. Chris, right?
14th,
you're not going to be here. Is everybody else going to be here the 14th?
Of April?
Yes. I won't be here next time, but I will be here the 14th.
Okay, we'll have 5.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, well, somebody want to make a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue, 2602 to the April
April
14th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. All right, see you on the
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yeah, have a great
Will
day.
will we be receiving something in writing that list these things
I
we're
will email
supposed to
you
do?
tomorrow, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I'll
Thank
get in
you.
contact.
Yeah.
All right. There is no board discussion, and we've continued Country Club, we continued Service Road. We might as well deliberate on Main Street.
Can you read that that for us, Leanne? My computer's not.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Whenever you're ready, we can start. Jim's computer died.
She's gonna
So you
read
have me reading the decision for
Go-
for
you go
132.
right ahead.
Okay. So application for a special permit was filed on January 8th, 2026 under sections 1330 and 2200 of the bylaw for the purpose of operating a hotel motel. After proper notice was given, the public hearing was opened on March 10th, 2026 and closed on March 10th, 2026. The application was accompanied by a plan of land entitled 1 Water Street dated March 6th, 2020. The board reviewed the application and all of the materials submitted prior to the close of the public hearing. The board received and gave due consideration to the testimony given at the public hearing. The following members attended the public hearing: Chris, Chase, James, Eric, Brendan, and Kevin. Findings. The Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the Board of Appeals finds that the application meets the requirements of Section 9, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A. Subject property is located within the Village Zoning District. The property consists of approximately 12,341 square feet with 135.13 feet of frontage on Main Street. Sorry, I'm saying the property, not building. The building is currently being used as a single-family residence. The applicant is proposing to operate a hotel motel at the location. Section 1330 requirements. The Board of Appeals does not find that there are conditions peculiar to the case but not generally true for similar permitted uses on other sites in the same district. The Board of Appeals finds that nuisance, hazard, or congestion will not be created. The Board of Appeals finds that there will not be substantial harm to the neighbourhood. The Board of Appeals finds that there is no derogation from the intent of the bylaw such that the district's objectives will be satisfied. The applicant does not anticipate any changes to the exterior of the building. The structure will include 4 ensuite guest bedrooms, 4 common rooms, 1 support pantry and restroom facilities. Food preparation and service will be supported by the neighbouring Dunbar Tea Room, which is now held in common ownership. Small private gatherings and events incidental to the hotel use is expected. Side access and egress will remain the same with a total of 5 required parking spaces on site. Waste service will be combined with the Dunbars, which is picked up on Tuesdays at 9 a.m.
So this is a hotel because it's not going to be an owner occupied, so it's not a B&B.
If there's any
I
additional
have no
findings.
additional findings. Anyone have anything else to add? Okay, Leanne.
So it's a vote.
I'm just, we have to vote on those, but,
I know.
okay. I'm just wondering, do you want to put a finding in that it's not going to be an owner occupied establishment, just so it kind of leaves people to understand why it's a hotel?
Sure.
Oops.
You probably should take me off because you only need the 5 votes.
I will move the findings.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Conditions. At the public hearing, the Board of Appeals considered potential conditions of approval for the special permit. The Board of Appeals voted that the following conditions of approval shall be imposed upon any approval of a special permit, and that these conditions are reasonable, and that the applicant and its successor in interest shall be bound by these conditions. 1. Failure to comply with all the conditions set forth in the decision shall terminate the grant of the special permit. 2. Pursuant to the requirements of Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw, Section 1330, the grant of the special permit shall expire upon A. The transfer of ownership prior to initiation of substantial construction on or occupancy of the site, unless such transfer is authorized in this permit, or B. If no substantial construction or occupancy takes place within 3 years of special permit approval, excluding such time required to pursue or await the determination of an appeal referred to in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 17. Number 3, the special permit shall not take effect until it is recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the recorded special permit is provided to the Board of Appeals. And I did not have any additional conditions. Would you like me to add one?
I don't have anything.
No.
All right. Motion to move the conditions.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
In decision, after reviewing the application, the plan, and other materials submitted, and after giving due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing, the board hereby approves the special permit for property located at 132 Main Street as shown on Assessor's Map 73, Parcel 196, for the purpose of operating a hotel motel.
I'll move to approve the special permit application.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Nothing else on the agenda, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.